Sometimes those that are seeking for the face of Yah and for his reality, they may be like someone standing in front of an open refrigerator, staring at all the contents, and when asked, "What are you looking for?" "I don't know. I'm just hungry." Hi, this is Barry Phillips with 10-Minute Torah, Day 1 of Yitro. And traditionally it is translated as Jethro. We are in Shemot, Exodus chapter number 18. Let's look at verse 1. And Yitro, the priest of Midian, Moshe's father-in-law, heard of all that Elohim had done for Moshe and for Israel, his people. The Yahweh had brought Israel out of Mitzrayim. Let's go down to verse 8 that says, And Moshe told his father-in-law all that Yahweh had done to Pharaoh and to the Mitzrayites for Israel's sake, all the hardship that had come upon them on the way, and how Yahweh had delivered them. Yitro rejoiced for all the good which Yahweh had done for Israel, whom he had delivered out of the hand of the Mitzrayites. Verse 10 says, And Yitro said, Blessed be Yahweh, who has delivered you out of the hand of the Mitzrayites, out of the hand of Pharaoh, and has delivered the people from under the hand of the Mitzrayites. The conclusion in verse 11, Now I know that Yahweh is greater than all the mighty ones, indeed in the matter in which they acted proudly above them. Now, there is an interesting angle on this in that this particular Torah portion contains the single most important event prior to the coming of Yeshua upon this earth. And that is the giving of the Torah. Creation, yes, that's a huge event. Sin in the garden, yes, that's a very significant event. The flood, the building of the ark, that's a very significant event. But this one is not just changing for Israel, it's changing for the entire earth, because it is by the word of the Torah that both Israel and the nations, the corporate bodies, national entities, and individuals will all be judged. Yah is going to open his books, and he's going to see the list of names that are written in the book of life and those that are not. And he is going to judge both by the validity, integrity, and authenticity of the Torah. And so, if this is the test that we're going to take as we stand before our Messiah, doesn't it make sense to us to study this particular text, this particular set of books, and understand them and apply them to our life? After all, this is the textbook. Now, the interesting part is that all of this significance that is contained in this Torah portion is named after a priest who serves what some would say is a pagan altar, but let's call it, technically it is, but it is an altar of seeking. The rabbinical minds have concluded that what Yitro was doing as priest of Midian is that he had an altar erected seeking for the one true mighty one, the one true Elohim. Now, as a part of Midian, let's also remember that the Midianites were descendants from Abraham through Keturah, and that Midian would have originally, as Abraham's son, been circumcised. He was blessed as an adult, and he was sent away. That is so that he would not compete, neither his brothers, with Yitzhak for the integrity or the benefits of the covenant. That being now understood, Midian, circumcised, is living away from the homeland of Abraham. And in some generations, they have to wonder, why are we circumcising our sons when there's no benefit to it, because we're not beneficiaries of the covenant? They then would have turned to perhaps other means of worshiping and seeking and exploring, trying to experience whatever spiritual powers that they deemed reliable or more more appropriate for themselves. Yitro is this priest, if indeed the rabbinical minds are correct. He is seeking. Who are you? Where are you? And that's the same thing that Abraham is said to have done when he was living in Ur the Chaldees, that he was a seeker of the one true Elohim, and it was through that seeking then that he was called, spoke to, and led out of that environment into the land where he encountered Yahweh more authentic, with greater authenticity, if I could say that word. Now, in all reality, that's where many of us have come from. We were, yes, given the advantage of being in systems where we had true knowledge to some levels, some greater than others. We had some access to the real word of Yah, whether we studied it or just listened to it as it was taught and offered to us, and those opinions that accompanied that. But there was a hunger at some point that drove us to say, okay, is this it? Is this all that there is? Have I found the climax of seeking the Father's face? And am I just supposed to attend meetings, put money in a plate, and be good? Is that all you want from me, or is there more? And the seeking of the more and answering the question, is this all that there is? Here we are. We're digging deeper into the scriptures. We are finding that there is more to apply to our lives than what has been previously taught to us. And like Yitro, we are learning to come to the conclusion, now I know that Yahweh is greater than all of the other mighty ones that may be supposed to be in existence, but it's even more than that. We are finding the real Yah, the real Creator, the real Messiah, Yeshua, that has been revealed to us now, perhaps somewhat, maybe even greatly different than what we have been led to believe and been taught in sometimes past. This greater revelation of Him is not without consequence. It means now that we need to follow Him with greater degrees of reality of His revelation to us. We can't just say, I see you more clearly, I see you more powerfully, but I'm going to live as I've always lived. No, it is incumbent upon us then to align ourselves with the greater revelation. What it also says to us, and I want to conclude with this thought, who the Torah really is for. Now, we see in the next chapter, and we'll be talking about this later in the week, how that the Torah was given to those who are called Israel. And this is His covenant people. This is His covenant body. These are those that He identifies very, very clearly as belonging to Him, and thus He gives them the Torah. But again, a rabbinical mind or mindset has been revealed to us, and I find this extremely interesting. And that is that the Torah, when it was spoken from Mount Sinai, was spoken in all the languages of the earth, and that the people of the earth all heard the word in their own language. The credence of this being real is found in Acts chapter 2, which is the anniversary of the giving of the Torah. And men from all nations were there, and they all heard through the languages spoke by these who were filled with the Spirit on that day, the word of Yah in their own language. Kind of matches up, doesn't it? So if indeed that is the case, the continuing of the rabbinical commentary is that all the nations eventually or initially rejected this word of Yah from Mount Sinai and said it's not for us, but Israel said we'll take it. And that is the unique mark and difference upon the people of Israel. However, now we are finding that the word of Yah is revisiting those of all those languages, and we're hearing again the word of Yah. And instead of saying, nah, it's not for me, we're signing on. Like Yitro, we're coming to a revelation of who Yah really is. Now it's incumbent upon us to align with the greater revelation. And align with me again tomorrow. We'll see you then, and until then, shalom.